to a new world of gods and monsters.
It's alive!
Here's Johnny.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, I'm telling you, brother, it's a frightful sight. See what goes on Halloween night.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Why We Love Horror, episode 25. We took a week off, so it feels like it's been a month now since we've been back. It's crazy. Today, we are talking the long-awaited Titane and 2007's Inside. Melissa, John, how you feeling about the double feature that we just did supposedly 2 weeks ago, but now.
I mean, these are movies you do need to take a little bit of time to recover from, so it makes sense.
Yeah. No, I'm super excited to talk about both of these. It feels good to be back, but it also feels like, it does feel like we haven't done this in a long time, which is weird. It hasn't really been that long.
It's what happens when you go from weekly to doing every other week out of nowhere. But let's get right into it with Titane.
Well, no one told me about her, the way she lied. But it's too late to say you're sorry. How would I know? Why should I care? Please don't bother trying to find her. She's not there. Well, let me tell you about the way she looked, the way she acted, the color of her hair. Her voice was soft and cool, her eyes were clear and bright, but she's not there.
Who would like to take over the plot synopsis for Titane? Or Titane?
I mean, I will give it a go.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the hardest to give a plot synopsis to, but Titane. Is that how we're saying it? Is that right?
No one's ever correcting me.
I've heard it both ways.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I just pretend I'm French and I say Titane.
Could you hear that on my computer or no?
Nah.
No?
Nah.
Okay. Let's play it. It's like Titane on the wiki. There's like a little sound clip. Anyways, okay. I want to read the IMDb synopsis just because I feel like it's funny because I don't really agree with it. Following a series of unexplained crimes, a father is reunited with the son who has been missing for 10 years.
Way to bury the lead on that one. Jeez.
Titane is about a dancer named Alexia, and she has a traumatic event happen to her as a child in a car accident, and she gets a plate of titanium in her head. And then cut to present day now, she's a dancer on cars, with cars, on cars. And she kind of commits a series of crimes and ultimately disguises herself as a boy. I guess that's kind of a plot synopsis. I don't know if it's too spoilery, but
Yeah.
You didn't spoil a thing.
No.
You didn't spoil a thing. We'll spoil it in a minute, but you didn't spoil a thing.
Yeah, so let's get right into it with talking about the beginning, which is Alexia's a little girl in a car with her father during the drive while she is messing around with moving her seatbelt and shit like that. Her father turns around to kind of like tell her to, put her seatbelt on. And that's when a car accident happens. And she suffers a skull injury and has the plate put in her head. What did you guys feel about the opening to this movie?
Accurate. Sit down, shut up. Exactly. That kid deserved it, I think. 100%. My daughter kicks my seat all the time, and I get so upset. I really felt for Dad in that scene. So, yeah.
I think it. I'm not a parent, so I don't know. But I I think it really does establish kind of the relationship with her and her dad. Like she's there's definitely like a coldness, and he doesn't really want to connect with her. And she just kind of wants to get any type of reaction from him, and is not like receiving it. It's pretty intense, the like scenes with the brain, like the surgery part, which I mean was cool because at one point in my life I wanted to be a brain surgeon, but then I was like, no, that's a lot.
And like for that, I mean, just for people who haven't seen the movie, it's a pretty nasty like scar she gets from the injury. Like it's practically exposed plate for some parts of the movie. But yeah, it's a nasty looking injury, but it makes her unique. I guess that kind of lends into her like her persona as an adult.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting way to open this with just fucking bang. Here you go. I think it's done well. And then we cut to years later where she's now an adult and we see the large scar on her head where the fucking plate is. And she's working as what would you
she's like a trade show model, I guess.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it, at the motor show. And after one of the nights of it, a man follows her back into the parking lot and basically is trying to kiss her. And she uses her.
Pull those spoilers up.
Oh yeah. You know what? Yeah, let's put the spoilers up for this right away. Yeah. She kills his ass using the large metal hair thing that she has. And as she's going to shower, she sees that the car that she was modeling has turned on by itself. And that's when she decides to have sex with the car. Anybody that knows about this movie, that's the one scene people fucking
unprotected sex with the car. Let's make it clear.
Exactly. So what did you guys feel about the entire sequence of her at the car show and then her fucking the shit out of the car?
I mean, I think the whole tracking shot of her entering the trade show and like getting to her dancing pose, or the car she's dancing on is really intense. It definitely establishes her as like a independent, don't give a shit, like borderline, like sociopathic person. Like you can just tell by the way she walks and the way she interacts with people that she zero left to give. And then like the way she dances as well is just way more like doesn't give a shit. Like the other dancer, there's other girls like posing with cars and they're kind of doing some strippery stuff. She doesn't care. This is like full performance art. Like she doesn't care who's watching. She's going all out. It's like extremely erotic. Then we go from there. Then there's like a seemingly endless scene of women showering, very, very 70s. And then the whole scene with the guy outside happens where the dude's like a total like incel stalker, like everything you can imagine. Like doesn't leave her alone, can't take a hint. She knows he's not going to go away. So in a sense, you kind of don't really even see her as like a total psychopath in that sense, because the guy was probably going to, keep going. So it was, believable self-defense at some level on that. Then she goes back in, and then the scene with the car happens, and then you're like, wow, I've never seen anything like this before in a movie. Yeah, so then she has sex with the car, which I'll bring up at least 20 more times in this conversation. So,
yeah, I think the whole kind of dance sequence with the car, I think is really trying to establish just how she's objectifying her body and just in general objectifying herself, but like she doesn't really care. And I think, I don't know. So this movie has a lot of layers. I think personally, Julia Ducournau is using kind of surface level things in regards to like the imagery to like really dive deeper into a lot of things. Because I personally think like this whole movie is like metaphors on metaphors and symbolism on symbolism. So it's like it's hard to talk about everything without getting like too into like I don't know, into my crazy thoughts about all the different things. But no, I think this whole sequence is really beautifully done. Apparently this was the first day of shooting, because I have done a lot of research on this since we had the time. which I think is really interesting. That was like the first day of shooting was like that whole sequence, because it's a big sequence to do on a first day of a shoot. But and then I thought the kill was super intense. Like the first time I watched it, my jaw was like on the floor, and I was like, holy shit. And just like the I guess it's like the spinal fluid that's like coming out of his mouth. It's gross.
Yeah.
But it's a great kill. And yeah, she definitely, I mean, the movie's asking us to empathize, have some kind of feeling for a female serial killer, essentially, at the beginning of the film. So it's asking a lot of us, but somehow it worked for me. But anyways.
Yeah, I think it's the same arc you see in a lot of television. Like, it's the whole Breaking Bad arc. It's like you will sympathize with them to a point.
Yeah.
And it's like, at what point you diverge, you're like, oh no, she's the bad guy. Like, it differs for different people.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then we get to her. They have a little part where we find out that she still lives with her parents, and of course, they have no idea what's really going on with her and stuff like that. And then she attends a house party where she ends up sleeping or starting to sleep with her coworker Justine. I think that's her name, Justine.
Justine, yep. She's the girl from Raw, Garance Merlier.
Yes. And that's when they're having sex. Motor oil begins coming out of her. And that's when she decided to take a pregnancy test, and it turns out to be positive. And that's when she uses the same thing she killed first guy with to try to do her own style of an abortion, which doesn't work. And that's when she comes out of the bathroom and just murders the shit out of Justine and other people that are at this party. But one person's able to escape, and she ends up setting a fire to her house and locks her parents in and just takes fuck off. How did you guys feel about the party up until her burning the shit out of her own house?
I mean, so a part that like is really difficult to watch is the nipple piercing. It kind of happens at
in the shower.
In the shower scene, but we get a little bit more here, where like she's kind of like sucking on her nipple, and then she's like, all right, you can move downstairs, and like she like can't. And I think that has something to do with like it's metal, like she can only connect with metal and like the coldness type of thing, instead of like the human body. But it's still really intense to watch, and it makes me hurt watching it.
That's a hard scene
like,
to watch.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not even like a true horror scene, and it's so hard to watch because like she just doesn't stop. And props to Garance Merlier for doing that. That's a total commitment to the project.
So that really stands out to me in regards to like kind of all the scenes you just brought up. But I do think it's interesting that like now in present day, again, there's still like that lack of connection between her and her dad. Like, yeah, like you said, they have no idea what's going on in her life, and you can tell she's like a total like what's the word? Like she's totally like using them, you know, a free place to live and have food or whatever. And so like she's just such an annoyance in their life. Like, and maybe like because we don't really get to learn a whole lot about either of her parents, so like maybe she was a mistake child. I don't know, but like they don't really seem to enjoy her presence at all.
Yeah, I think the motor oil part was definitely something I did not see coming at all, and it's definitely that shocking moment that works perfectly with that, and it kind of sums up what we're about to get with the rest of this movie, how it's gonna go insane directions that you don't really see coming. And all the murder parts, like her killing people, are all fucking great.
The stool murder is insane.
Yeah.
Which is For those who haven't seen, there's definitely at least there's three other people in the house besides her and Justine. There's another couple upstairs, and then there's the heavy set gentleman. I forget what his name is. But the man comes downstairs and gets into some fisticuffs with Alexia, and she winds up killing him with a bar stool by basically shoving it into his mouth until he's dead, which is incredible.
Yeah,
incredible to watch. And then from there, she goes upstairs. I think the woman has locked herself in the bedroom, but the other guy stumbles out, and he's like, "What's going on?" And she basically, plays into him because he's a very imposing large man, and she just kind of like sucker stabs him and kills him. Then the girl makes a break for it, and there's another like fantastic they live scuffle on the stairs, and that girl winds up getting away. Yeah.
Which then takes us to her changing her appearance. She ends up taping down her breasts and her belly, and she starts going by the name of Adrienne, who is a person that went missing like 10 years before at a young age. So she ends up breaking her nose as well. And then she goes to the police claiming that she is Adrienne, and then the father shows up, Vincent, who is a fire captain. I guess he's a fire captain, and just without a DNA test goes, yeah, this is my son. And she is now under the tutelage of him. What did you guys feel about her disguising herself as this kid that went missing?
Yeah, another really it's interesting. This, as much as I love this movie, there's just some scenes that are incredibly hard to watch, and like her breaking her nose and and it's
very real. It's incredibly real.
Yeah, her whole transformation is pretty incredible. But again, I think it's just really smart direction and camera shots and sound effects and all that. It feels so visceral, feels so real, and it's really uncomfortable. I definitely think for Vincent, I think from the very beginning, I think he knows this is not his son, but he just accepts her with open arms anyway. So I think that really speaks to his character in a few different ways, very sad, very lonely, but I guess very kind too. So,
John, how about you?
Yeah, I think Vincent's character, he's an extremely interesting character. The transformation itself, everything Melissa said is 100% true. Just the act, the commitment to just shaving her head, making herself look like a boy who's been through some stuff. And then and you're right. I think you're right. Vincent knows. Obviously, the mother figures it out right away down the road. But Vincent, I think deep down knows. But he's been living with this loss for so long, and we get into his whole addiction and his whole kind of his whole bag, and just what he's done to fill the void in his life, and just what a relief it is that he has something after all this time. I mean, his son's probably been declared dead for years, so it's got to be such a relief for him to even pretend his son is back.
Yeah.
Which then we get him bringing Alexia down to his fire station to meet everyone and for her to become the new apprentice of his, and they are all kind of questioning what's going on, including one of them who goes straight to Vince and just goes, "My man, this ain't who you think it is," and he basically tells him never fucking speak of it again. This is my son, and that is the end of it. What did you guys feel about the entire firefighter sequence and everyone basically like we were talking about, everybody basically questioning it at this point, but Vincent himself?
I think Vincent lives a very secluded life. He's obviously he's a fireman's fireman. He lives in the fire station, and he's embroiled himself in his work. He's getting older. He's doing his best to remain physically fit. He's injecting himself with steroids left and right, and it's not working anymore. He's at the end of his rope in multiple ways. So for people to challenge the one shred of happiness he has, he just shuts it right down. He's not having it at all.
Melissa, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to add, but yeah, no, I think it's interesting that they chose like firefighters, I guess, is like the career. I think it's just, again, I think this film has a lot to do with like gender norms and masculinity, femininity, all of that. And I think that definitely like ties into it, because when you think of a firefighter, it's very like masculine type of field. There's not a lot of women. So I think it just, again, adds to those layers that Julia's just throwing down. But yeah, Vincent, again, unconditional love for Adrian / Alexia, even from the beginning.
Which John brought it up, but we find out that he has been injecting himself, and he injects himself enough to where he ends up experiencing, I can never get this fucking term right, the arrhythmia?
That's right. Arrhythmia.
Okay,
Yeah.
arrhythmia. And during this portion, Alexia's kind of getting freaked out by how possessive Vincent has become with her, and she's thinking about taking off. But after he has that happen, she decides, okay, I'm gonna stick it out. And that's when his ex-wife comes to see supposedly Adrian, and she finds the pregnant Alexia, but she basically says, you know what, we're gonna keep it to herself because she needs someone to take care of Vincent. And she's basically asking Alexia, hey, just continue this delusion that you have going, his delusion for you, so you can take care of him. And that's when Vincent finally just goes, you know what, yeah, I know you're not who you are, but you are my, I am going to tell you that you are my son. That's how he's feeling at this point, and that's what it's going to be. He's going to be, but he discovers that she is a woman, and he just doesn't care at that point. He's going to continue the delusion. So how do you guys feel about everything from her deciding to stay with Vincent, even though he's become extremely possessive over him, to the ex-wife showing up and everything that ensues with that?
Yeah, I guess, sorry, I want to cut back a few scenes.
Oh, yeah.
There's like several times that Alexia is like trying to escape, and then he like basically doesn't let her. But I think there's a really pivotal scene in the bus where Alexia tries to, like, she's gonna run away, and she's now as a disguised as a boy, and there's really intense conversations on the bus about women, of these group of men, but I can't tell you how like realistic it is as a woman, like just how men can really dehumanize and like talk about women. But it's interesting because she's kind of shielded by this appearance of a boy in that scene, but she ultimately chooses to leave the bus and go back to Vincent, which I think again is showing a lot of growth with her character, that like she actually is maybe connecting with a human and not a car.
Yeah.
Basically. So
I think
sorry.
worth noting, we haven't really mentioned it yet, is like the makeup effects in this movie are fantastic. Agatha Roussel was not pregnant throughout. I don't believe she was pregnant. But all the pregnancy prostheses, like the broken nose prostheses, like everything about her body, her pregnant body, like the makeup is like incredible. Like it looks so real. So I'll just note that. And then as far as the actual scenes go, yeah, it's kind of, I don't, not depressing, but it's definitely like, it's heart-wrenching, just like the sad, like everyone is sad. And Alexia made a bunch of decisions while sociopathic, and she probably remains being sociopathic, but those decisions painted her into a corner, as well as the scene on the bus, but also there is no alternative. She can't go back to being Alexia, that you're condemning yourself probably to a lethal injection.
Oh yeah.
So she's trapped as Adrian, even though everyone closest to her knows she's not Adrian.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I feel like you was like, how are you feeling? I'm like, well, I'm not gonna answer any of your questions. Talk about something else. So sorry. I guess another scene too that worth mentioning is kind of before this, where she's like putting on a dress, and then kind of gets caught by Vincent, and then he shows the pictures of his son in the dress and saying like for sure you're my son, and it's like, oh shit. So then it almost makes me think like, did his son maybe he was a little bit more feminine than he would have liked, and maybe this is like his way of like accepting his son in this spiritual rebirth of Alexia coming into his life. I don't know, but I thought that was a very interesting scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely feel for both of them throughout this movie, Vincent and Alexia. You feel why both of them are making the decisions they're making, especially Vincent, why he's doing the decisions he's making during this. You feel for it, you know why he's doing it. And then we get to the party at the fire station this time where they convince Adrian to dance to the music, and that's when Alexia brings out her showgirl choreography that she does, and it confuses the shit out of everyone. And then that's when Vincent completely walks out, and then Alexia has sex with the fire truck, which again, she says, fuck another car. What did you guys feel before we get to the ending of this movie? What did you guys feel about the sequence of events here?
It's a fantastic dance number. I just strictly speaking, from an artistic standpoint, like, she's a great dancer, straight up. So I'll say that, and they'll just throw it over to Melissa.
I mean, dance horror is one of the best subgenres, just saying. So I like that we got a little taste of it right there. It's kind of also the influence of my lighting today because it's kind of purpley. No, it's I think it's kind of stripping down, talking about like the toxicity of the gender norms type of stuff, because it feels kind of interesting that it's like this group of firefighters, which there's no women in sight, kind of all dancing together. I would not think that is something that occurs, but apparently it does, and I think it's awesome.
It's have you seen Climax?
Yes. Yeah, I don't really know the significance of her having sex again with the car. I don't know if that's like her going back to her old ways because she's just scared about her new future.
It's like, I think it's a coping mechanism. It's a coping mechanism just after that whole thing happened. Yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah. So no, I thought it was great though.
And then during these portions, Alexia's body is starting to kind of break down. Her stomach's starting to revealing new metal plates. And then when her pregnancy is actually happening, she tells Vincent what her real name is, and she's seducing him in a way, but also just basically asking him for his help during this. And that's when she's actually giving birth. The side of her skull, the titanium side, splits open, and during the final push, she dies. And that's when the newborn appears with all the titanium on his body. And Vincent just keeps saying the word "I'm here," or the words "I'm here," and we end on that. What did you guys feel about the ending to this movie and her having her baby basically become titanium baby?
I mean, call me warped, but it's like a happy ending, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, Vincent gets what he wants. Like, Vincent gets a fresh start.
Yeah.
Right? He has a new boy. Alexia is put out of her suffering, basically, because her whole life is just been suffering. Silent suffering. And, yeah, and that's that. Like, everyone kind of gets what they want. So, it's not. It doesn't feel happy, but it's happy, objectively, I guess.
I guess you guys are gonna think I'm really weird. I don't know why, but on this watch, it made me cry, honestly, in like a happy way for them, because I think it's like overwhelmingly a happy ending, because like kind of how you just said, I think it's a rebirth of Alexia in a way with this new human car baby, and it desperately wants to have unconditional love in his life, and I mean that's typically established with a child and a parent, and so this is kind of his new beginning, a way that he can be a parent again, and he says he's here. So yeah, no, I think it's a very beautiful ending.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think you both summed it up pretty well, that this is a happy ending for both of them, and Vincent is getting his new start in life with a new child, and he gets to try it again, which I think is very sweet with what happened throughout this entire movie. Before we get to the
What a way to get there, but a happy ending.
Before we get to the ratings of this movie, did you guys want to bring up anything that we haven't touched upon?
Yes, the Macarena.
The EMT Macarena, yes.
Yeah.
I was always taught it was staying alive, but Macarena works too.
So there's a scene where Vincent basically is, on his job, trying to save somebody's life with CPR, and in that happening, the I guess it's like the or I think it's the mom. I don't know. Somebody in their life is there, like there as the witness, and who had called. She collapses. And instead of asking his coworker to perform CPR, he is like training Alexia how to do it via the Macarena. So it was very like, because it had a lot of like levity to it, but it was very kind of kooky, and I don't know if like this is just like him teaching that like she can bring good to the world or like help people, because again she just has no like idea of what having love and connection to humans is like. At least that's how it's established from the beginning into this point. So it's a very funny but interesting scene.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Yeah, I had forgotten about the Macarena CPR. And also, I think there's a lot. I think this is a kind of movie you could write papers on, because I believe Melissa's only really scratching the surface when she talks about layers upon layers and symbolism upon symbolism. Yes, there's lots of deep stuff here, but if you watch it just as like a experiential experience, I think you'll still get something out of it. It's definitely a movie you should watch. I don't expect you to embrace everything you see in it, but you should like it, I would say.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's get into the ratings of VHS tapes. Let's start with John. John, 0 out of 5 VHS tapes. What did you give
Titane is a 4 for me. Not that, and that means I like it. It doesn't mean I dislike it. It's just it's not a 5-star movie for me. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot of stuff that like you start one. I mean, I've seen Julia DeCarno's other stuff. Raw also has moments like this where it's like, oh, that's a bold choice, but I think I like Raw better than Titane, because the bold choices in Titane are like they come right up to off-putting without crossing the line, and it just happens so many times it feels like you're getting fucked with a little bit. So that's why it's a 4-star movie.
Yeah, this was my second time seeing it. I had it originally at a 4, and it went up a little bit to 4.5 for me. Still not a 5, but I really have enjoyed what I've seen with this movie, and I got a lot more out of it the second time through. So I'm very curious what's going to happen when I rewatch it for the third time. But I love the performances. I thought the relationship between Alexia and Vincent was really great, and yeah, that happy ending was a true happy ending. We end on Melissa. Melissa, what did you give Titane?
I gave it 5 VHS tapes. I like a lot sometimes, and this a lot works for me. And yeah, the first time I watched it, I gave it a 4.5. But this time around, I think I had the time to kind of process it, because this was definitely a movie that like stuck with me for a really long time, and I was thinking about it a lot. So it was great to revisit, and yeah, I kind of loved all the things that maybe I didn't quite understand, or maybe didn't appreciate the first time around. But yeah, there's just so many layers to this movie. Those are sometimes my favorite kinds of movies, to kind of peel back all the layers and kind of catch something new each time you watch it. Also, fun fact, Julia DeCarno, I guess this was a reoccurring nightmare that she had, was giving birth to like car parts, auto parts. And so she took that inspiration of like that nightmare, and she actually like built the movie backwards, which I think is really interesting. That's like how she kind of came up with the concept of it, and she really liked the love story in Raw, and she wanted to challenge herself in her next film to focus on love. So I think she did great. So I'm super excited to see what she does next.
Definitely me too. I definitely want to see what comes next. I think I'm a huge fan of Raw. So.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I'm definitely very curious to see what she's going to do next. Which brings us to our next movie, in the 2007 Inside. John, would you like to take the plot synopsis on Inside?
This is the simplest plot synopsis you'll ever hear. This is a short, wild movie about a woman who is pregnant, but another lady wants that baby and is going to stop at nothing to get that baby. And that's the whole movie.
Yeah. That was fucking, you weren't lying. That is the easiest plot synopsis. Very simple.
Before we even start talking about it, like, if you just want, like, if you have like only a little bit of time and you want to watch a horror movie, Inside is short and brutal. Watch it.
Absolutely agree.
I like that. I'm just gonna put up the spoiler warning right away for this movie, because as John states, it is very short and very straight to the point. We start off on Christmas Eve. We are following Sarah as she survives. Hey, let alone a car crash.
What do you know?
It opens up with the fucking car crash that kills her husband, and she's making the final preparations for the delivery of her baby, who is overdue. And she's kind of moody and depressed, and she's turning down her mother's request to stay with her, and she instead asks her employer, Jean-Pierre, to take her to the hospital for eventual the delivery, which as that night of the delivery, an unidentified woman arrives at her door, asking to use the telephone. She says that her husband's sleeping and she doesn't want to, let her in or anything like that. And that's when the woman tells her, hey, I know that your husband's dead. Let me in. What did you guys feel about the opening of this movie up until this unidentified woman shows up?
I'm going to talk about the only complaint I have about Inside, and it's a big complaint I have about the movie. I love this movie, but the biggest complaint I have about Inside is the stupid baby CGI. The stupid baby CGI like takes you out of the movie. Everything else, if they took, honestly, the movie would be like 69 minutes without the baby CGI, and it would be like it would be a 6-star movie. Just so everybody knows. The setup is great. Really establishes Sarah as like, her husband's dead, like she's just hanging on kind of because this baby's there, and she's just like over it, kind of over to the point that like she doesn't even like really want support. Like she just wants to have this baby, and like you don't even get a feeling of like the house doesn't even look like it's prepared for a baby, to be honest with you, for the most part. But like you get this feeling you don't even know if she wants the baby or not, and like there's a lot of like ambiguity in the whole pregnancy, just the way she feels about it. But that changes as we go on.
Yeah. I mean, I love unconventional holiday movies, so I'll add this to my list of that.
That's Christmas Eve. I forgot it's Christmas Eve.
Because I was like, oh, okay, this is a Christmas movie. Okay, weird. And it kind of has like a biblical feel because like she's going to be giving birth on Christmas. But no, I also find it funny that like just the world that she lives in is like really interesting, with like the nurses like smoking in the hospital, and like there's definitely that this time of horror, because this came out in 2007, right? Yeah, like early 2000s horror, I guess like 2000s horror has like this like color grading that's like really specific, and like it definitely has
the French movies from that decade really play into it. Like it's like everything in Saw like just times 10.
Yeah, exactly. So it definitely gave me that like Saw feel, which it's not a bad thing. It's just like it very much like it makes me go, okay, it's that time period of horror, I guess.
Yeah, it's like the lighting in the Titane scene behind you, but the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is actually very accurate.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get right into it with the lady refusing to leave, and she's gonna bust through that fucking door. So Sarah decides to take the picture of her, and she's a professional photographer, so she's using a pretty nice camera so she can try to get a good picture. And once she does take a picture, she gets the police on the line. When the police show up, the lady's gone, and as she is looking at other pictures she's developed, she has noticed that this woman has been appearing a few times in an earlier photo of hers. So she now knows that this woman's stalking her. Now, as this is happening, she telephones her friend Jean-Pierre to see, hey, can you have these enhanced so we can get a good, clear picture of her? And she decides to go to sleep. When she awakes, the woman's in her bedroom with a pair of scissors trying to stab her pregnant belly, which she does, and slashing her with it a couple times. And that's when she locks herself in the bathroom, and that's when Jean-Pierre arrives, and thinking that this woman is her mother, doesn't really seem like he doesn't really know what's going on. And then her mother shows up, and that's when things get confusing for him. The mother heads upstairs to check on the daughter, and Sarah accidentally kills her with a needle to the neck. What did you guys feel about the stabbing with the scissors up until her confronting both Jean-Pierre and her mother?
Yeah, so a little detail that I loved, I don't know if y'all noticed this, is her address is 666. I was just like, all right, that's fun. But honestly, like my favorite shot of the film is when she, because I can't even remember what her name is, the intruder lady, but I think they call her like La Femme or
The
something
woman,
like
yeah,
that.
she's just the woman.
Okay,
Yeah.
So my favorite shot of the whole film is when the woman comes into her bedroom and is just kind of like looking at her while she's sleeping, but in the background on the wall, there's like a silhouette and it looks like she's pregnant. I don't know if you noticed that, but I thought that was like a really cool kind of like shot of like, it kind of foreshadowed, what is coming, that she wants that baby and she will do anything to get the baby. But yeah, the scissors. We had scissors a few weeks ago with Evil Dead Rise, but these scissors, man, they're scary. They're thick, and I don't want that near a pregnant belly.
Like every single one of these like new French extremity movies, which I'm like, all in on new French extremity. But like, there's always like one or two shots where like somebody like they definitely like workshopped what is disturbing, and they took extra time. Like that scissor inverts and goes into her belly button and goes in. It's like, Jesus Christ! It's like you feel it, like you feel that stab, like, and it's not even like a deep stab. It's just like she barely nicks her, and it's like, it's such a crazy shot. It's such a crazy visual. It's such a crazy like visceral feeling it invokes in a viewer. And like all these movies like that are like this are like that. And that's just the first one of these things you see, because there's plenty to come. Also, when she stabs her mother by accident, that's another like crazy scene.
It's so sad because it's like, she's just trying to protect herself, obviously, because this lady's fucking crazy. And like, she doesn't know what's going on. All she knows is that the crazy woman is out there, not her mom. But no, I was just like, oh, this girl's a crazy bitch.
Which then we get the 3 police officers showing up, and the woman pretends to be Sarah, and they at first believe her until they figure out, hey, she's not pregnant. And they go back, and this woman then tends to stabbed 2 of them with knitting needles, shoots the other one in the back of the head, and is going insane. And that's when Sarah goes at this woman, and they both fight each other off with different items. And as that is happening, Sarah burns half this woman's face with the aerosol can and cigarette, which is a fucking awesome sequence. And then when the woman tries to flee and get the hell out of there, Sarah confronts her, and we find out that this woman was the other driver in the car accident, which killed her unborn baby, and that's why she really wants Sarah's baby. Because she goes, "You killed my baby. I want my goddamn baby. So this is now my baby." What did you guys feel about the attack with the police officers up until the reveal?
It's like what a comedy of errors. Like everything goes wrong.
Yeah.
For Sarah, right? Like everything that could go wrong goes wrong. Like. And the poor dude who's like handcuffed in the backseat of the car, where it was like, listen, there's obviously we're not going to leave you by yourself. Like you're involved in this now. He's like, well, can you maybe uncuff me? It's like, no, dude, you're fucked. Come on in the house. Yeah, and the woman just like also is like extremely lucky. Like just like lucks into like every single time she's able to kill somebody. I think it's just because it's such a disorient. I think when they first go to the house, right? When the cops first go to the house, they kind of just realize nothing's going on.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's Christmas. They don't want to be there. There's nothing to see. So the reports in the computer are probably like, yeah, this lady's like, she's just alone and scared. So whatever. So no one's expecting like a psychopath in this house. So they're all just like basically like willingly ambushed over and over and over again. And it's just it's brutal. It's just brutal shot after brutal shot. When the one cop gets her in the bathroom, he's about to save her, and just the back of his head explodes. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And that just keeps happening like over and over in this movie. And like did I tell you it's a short movie? There's no time to breathe in this movie.
No.
All this stuff happens like bam, bam, bam. It's relentless the entire movie.
Yeah,
Also,
no,
she's trapped in the bathroom because the woman takes the scissors and impales her hand to the wall. So she's stuck in there with her arm out the door the entire time. Crazy shit.
Yeah, no, I mean all the kills are so brutal, but at the same time, I kind of love it. There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of fun practical effects, especially that. Yeah, the guy's head. Oh my god, that was pretty shocking. I was like not expecting that at all.
And honestly, not the best practical effect. I think the best practical effect is when the one cop kind of sort of survives, but he's blinded.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that Sarah's the one who's there. He thinks it's the woman, and he hits her in the stomach, and her water breaks. Like that's like I remember the first time I watched this. I mean, it was probably 2007, so I was a much younger man. I was in my 20s, and I remember pausing the movie and just walking out of the house. I was like, "That's enough." I just walked out. I was like, because that's crazy. That was crazy to me back then. I'm a little older now, a little wiser, so I didn't pause the movie this time.
Yeah, and again, just going back to like this movie's very visceral, just with all the wounds that she's like gaining throughout the movie, and like she just puts like duct tape on her hands, and
her face is cut.
Yeah, it's just it's a lot, and I'm just like, man, this lady is tough as hell.
They brutalize each other. It's bad.
Yeah.
This is a They Live fight, but to the extreme version of They Live fight. They're just beating the ever-loving shit.
Yeah, and no one gets hit in the testicles. It's even somehow it's worse.
Which John brought up. Her water does break. The officer who's blinded, who survived the initial gunshot, has hit her a few times, and that's when the unknown woman shows back up and kills him. And now, as she's lying there and her water's breaking and the baby's coming, she asks her for what the woman which is what the woman wanted. Can you just take my baby? Can you make sure the baby survives? So the woman uses the scissors to do the type of C section. I don't know exactly what kind of section that is, but
that's an X. That's an X section. That's what
basically just fucking taking the baby out, killing Sarah, and then sits in a chair with the baby and rocks the baby. And just looks at Sarah, who is lying there completely fucking dead. How did you guys feel of the ending of this movie? This non-stop ending where the last 45 minutes is just fucking there.
This ending's a little less happy. It doesn't feel as happy as Titane.
No, No, definitely
I
not.
mean, clearly she's happy, I guess, but her face is jacked.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if she's gonna. I don't know how long she's gonna be happy for. Everybody else very unhappy in the ending of this movie. This is definitely one of those new French extremity movies where like it's depressing. Like it's a depressing ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to add because I agree. I remember when I watched this, I immediately went to my husband. I was like, "Whoo! I just watched a movie." And I can't tell if I want to go on a 5-mile run or cry or yell. I don't know, maybe all of it, because it's very adrenaline pumping.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's hard to look away because it is exciting in regards to the pacing of it. But yeah, the ending is very depressing. And it's one of those things where it's like it is a horror movie, so that's not always a happy ending, and that's okay. But I will say, I'm just glad the CGI baby was over because I agree that's the worst part of the film.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that if I had a pregnant friend and I showed this to them, they would stop talking to me. Like 100%. Like I would lose a friend if I showed this movie. And that's a positive to how good it is. But yeah, the CGI baby gotta go. That should not have been in this movie.
Yeah, it didn't add anything to it except making it worse.
And before we get to the ratings of this movie, do you guys want to bring up anything that we haven't touched upon? Which we touched upon a lot of bigger moments.
Let me describe the whole movie.
Yeah.
I just have 2 fun facts.
All right.
So the directors of this movie were slated to do a Halloween movie, but it went to Rob Zombie. So I think that's interesting because that
would be so much better.
Right? I'm just like I would have much rather seen these guys because I thought they did a great job. In a way, you could say this is like the female version of Michael Myers in a way. And then the woman, Beatrice Daly, I had seen her previously in a film, so it was really fun to see her again, which is called Betty Blue. But the fun part of it is it connects both of our movies because guess who else is in it? Vincent Linden, the Vincent from Titane. So that's our connected movie is called Betty Blue. It's a erotic drama. It's really good.
I know her from Trouble Every Day, which is another movie that we're probably never going to cover on this show, but you know, don't watch it if you're bored. Trouble Every Day. Yeah.
I like those facts. Those facts are awesome. I definitely would have wanted to see a Halloween movie with those two in front of it.
Now that I know that, I feel horrible. I wish I could have petitioned my senator.
So I guess I will start this time with the ratings of 0 out of 5. But yeah, this movie, like as John said, it's very short, very straight to the point, and that's what I fucking loved about it. I love how fast paced it is, and yeah, the last 45 minutes is just in your fucking face, nonstop, just brutality. I got it out of a 4. I really enjoyed it. This is another movie that's my second time watching it, and I enjoyed the shit out of it. This is a fun movie that I will definitely put on my Christmas list. But I totally forgot that it took place during Christmas. So yeah, I would definitely be putting this on my list for next time. Melissa, how about you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. So fun fact about me, not as much as I love horror, not a lot of horror movies actually scare me. And this one actually did scare me. So that's a good thing. But I gave it 4.5 VHSs. I don't really have a lot of problems with this movie. Like I think it's short, it's effective, it's brutal. I like the effects. Yes, the pregnancy vulnerability is like tough, but I feel like it adds to the story though. And I think it all works well. But yeah, really just the CGI baby. Like if that was not there, it probably would be 5 stars for me because I don't really have a lot of issues with the movie. It's just a good movie and it's scary. Home invasion stuff too. That's like a genre that usually gets to me.
Yeah, home invasion is probably my favorite subgenre of horror. Actually, I think every home invasion, I can't look away.
John, how about you?
Honestly, I mean, like I said, this is a 5. This is a 5 So this is a 5 videotape movie. However, that CGI baby is the devil. Four VHS tape. That CGI baby. It's like so. It is like the most. It's like so out of place. It's like Sesame Street. Like one of these things is not like the other. Hey, it's a fucking CGI baby in the middle of this bloodbath. Get that shit out of here, man. I want the director's cut with no CGI baby, and I will give this 5 VHS tapes. Every time that baby's in the movie, you're only getting 4 out of me.
I like that. Well, for next week, I'm really excited because we're going into the Western horror genre with the newly released Oregon Trail and Kurt Russell's Bone Tomahawk.
Bone Tomahawk.
Anytime we talk Kurt Russell and horror, I'm fucking there for it. How do you guys feel about this upcoming double feature?
I am excited to rewatch Bone Tomahawk. I mean, most people don't know who Geno Seegers is. He was one of the bad guys on this beloved show I love a lot called Banshee. Anything Geno Seegers is in, I am 100% there for it. He's a great character actor, and Kurt Russell's there too. And I haven't seen Oregon Trail, but I'm hearing good things, so I definitely want to check it out.
Melissa?
Surprise. I haven't seen either of these. That happens most weeks. No, I'm excited to check out these. I think it was described before this episode. We were talking about it. Period horror pieces, movies, westerns. I don't know. So I'm excited. See what happens.
Well, that was it for our 25th episode of Why We Love Horror. We will be back next week with Oregon Trail and Bone Tomahawk. Make sure to follow us all on Letterboxd. As you see, we promote it every week. Go follow it. I have got a strange rash of like 15 different people following me the last couple of weeks, so maybe this has something to do with it. So if that's one of you out there, thank you very much. That's awesome of you.
Tell your friends.
Yeah, all right. Make sure to follow us all on Letterboxd. Make sure to check out the set list, which is going to be coming out when this releases on Thursday at 12 p.m. This set list will be at 8. Also, the Video Store Movie Club Pace and Runs with me and Nazario will also be happening, where we talk some Wachowski sisters. So get ready for that. Friday, Late Shift comes back. And then next week, we got all hosts of our regular shows coming back. So make sure to just check us out. Do you guys have anything else you'd like to plug before we get out of here?
Yeah, TLU is supposed to be dropping, I believe, this weekend. We're going to start it. And a huge announcement that I'll do right here on the 25th anniversary of Why We Love Horror is we've acquired a horror division. So sometime in the middle of the summer, we're gonna actually have a horror division of TLU. It might be TLU. It might be just called Why We Love Horror Trivia. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. To be named. Put a name in the comments. I don't freaking know what we're going to call it, but we are going to have our own horror division where there's be horror trivia, and we're probably going to do an open call for contestants for that too. So if you want to be a part of it, let us know. We can maybe get you in there if you like to do that stuff.
Oh yeah, Melissa, how about you?
I don't have much to add. I don't really have much to plug besides like, subscribe, comment, all those kind of things, and I guess buy our shit.
Yes, buy our shit.
Buy all this shit.
Someone bought a Why We Love Horror t-shirt recently, so whoever did that, fucking A. I love you already. We will get out of here. Thank you again, everybody, for watching, and we will see you next time on Why We Love Horror.
Why, she wouldn't even harm a fly.
Be sure to bring your death certificate.